Welcome everyone to episode 13 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're going to be talking about the latest movie in the John Wick franchise, John Wick 4. So share the episode, like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping stuff to get out of the way. Anybody who was looking for an episode last week did not get one, but we made a Twitter page so that you can follow us on Twitter, and we'll post updates if something like that happens again, or we'll just be tweeting when a new episode gets posted, and just a place for us to interact a little bit more. The link to the Twitter is going to be in the description on YouTube and Spotify, or you could just search the handle Like a Movie Pod. And now we could talk about John Wick 4. For starters, spoiler warning, probably some major
Yeah,
spoilers if
big
you're a fan of the
spoilers for
franchise.
John Wick.
Yeah, absolutely do not listen if you have not seen John Wick 4, or I guess really any of the John Wick movies, but specifically John Wick 4.
Also,
you guys
just
wanna,
go see the
yeah,
movie. Go watch
yeah,
the movie,
that
though.
as well. Yeah, good movie. People should watch it. You guys want to start with ratings? I believe Doug and I have the same rating, I think.
Yeah.
4.5 out
Yeah.
of 5 stars.
You didn't up it, Doug?
No.
No.
It's still 4.5 stars.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Owen.
Yeah, I get that shit 2.5 stars.
Which
Down the middle.
for anybody listening,
fine.
that is generous compared to Owen's previous John Wick ratings.
That's the best John Wick movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that an agreement that we all have?
Yeah.
That's I'm
Okay.
I'm on board with that. Okay, so
Cool.
we all agree. We could talk John Wick rankings at the end if you guys want. But yeah, that's my favorite for sure. Owen, you could give us a like first. You could tell us what you liked first.
Okay. So there's like these like sunrise like motif like things that there's going on to the whole movie that like really at the end you get this big like it's a kind of like it's my favorite moment in the movie where like they get at the top of the hill and it's like the sunrise
Yeah.
and it's like it's this movie is the moment because like you in the beginning of the movie you're getting these like kind of wide shots of the city of these like sunrises and you're like this is odd they keep showing like multiple sunrises and then for that to kind of like pay off in the end was this big like cool visual storytelling moment that I was like that's awesome. So I really
Last
like
shot
that
of the
whole
movie is
bit.
a sunrise.
Yeah, so there's just a
Yeah.
bunch of sunrises, and it was kind of there's whole visual storytelling that I really liked that you don't see a lot often in like blockbusters, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I could bounce off that. One of my big likes was like if we're talking about visuals was the overhead shot when
Yeah.
he's in the house, just like I mean
Yeah.
fighting people
No
like he
shit,
always
dude.
does.
Obviously.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
okay.
that was awesome.
I really like that scene. That's another one of those scenes that I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Little things like that really like got me.
I want to say
I was like, that's really cool.
that's my second favorite scene in the whole movie, I think. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
love
it was I in my review I kind of mentioned like Call of Duty, but it was like that's a very like video game scene where
yeah.
you get like the overhead, but it's so cool. That scene's so
Yeah,
cool.
it was like Call of Duty trailer kind of. That's
Yeah.
that's what they used to do for the
Like
trailers.
it's like a
It was like,
cinematic Call of Duty like trailer.
which, by the way, is so strange that the trailers for those games are just not like
It's not the
gameplay.
game. It's just well,
Like it
I
just
feel like
looks
that's
like
a
a
lot of
real.
games do that nowadays. Just like cinematic
Yeah.
like trailers.
No, but that was cool. That was a cool moment. Doug, do you have anything that stood out?
Name one thing you liked about this 3-hour movie that you loved.
I like the I think so, this is something that a lot of people are bringing up, but I think that the extreme lighting in this film is really interesting. I kind of like the maximalist visual style.
Yeah.
It's I think it's very cool that they went for it, and I think it usually works, but I do think that like the inconsistency in like the visuals kind of like threw me off a little bit in like a negative way. Because there are a lot of like there's like a lot of really awesome lighting in the movie, but then there's also like moments that are and like lots of it is like very practical where they're like clearly like on location for a lot of it, but then there are like a lot of moments where it's like they're very clearly on sound stages And it's
Yeah.
giving, and it's very clearly like an entirely CGI environment, and it's giving
Yeah.
like Star Wars prequels, which it's not, but it's not
I
like
kind
that's
of
like
liked that stuff.
I will, but my
There
thing
was
is
like
that's
this, the
not,
sky was like uncanny, like
yeah. I don't think that's inherently
it's like
bad, but it's just like it's juxtaposed from like some of the other
yeah,
scenes in
yeah.
the movie, which are very very clearly like, oh, this is just real.
Mhm.
It made it feel
Yeah.
very weird,
It was
and
almost like
inconsistent.
Speed Racer Sky, like in the
Yeah,
background, like something. And I thought that was cool. There's the scenes where it was like all the kind of people that are trying to kill John Wick at this like
which
card
one?
table.
Oh, oh,
Oh yeah. I mean
the Arc de
the
Triomphe. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was like I from that was the first moment in the movie that I was like, oh, this is actually I like this a lot. This is pretty
that happens in
interesting.
like
yeah.
the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, it's not the last half
Okay,
hour.
basically probably
It's like
last
No,
hour, probably
it
last
is
hour.
it's
the
like
last half
it's
hour
like,
of the
yeah,
movie.
maybe like the last hour, not half hour.
I
Yeah,
no, I'm
that
telling
I
you
feel
right
like
now. I know
I
for a
think
fact it's the last
the
half hour
scene
in the
the scene
movie.
okay, so
at the
that last half
card.
hour is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only good stuff in the
During the
movie.
Arc de Triomphe, yeah, because the last hour
Okay.
of the movie starts with last hour of the movie starts when he's in the church, giving the lighting the candle for his wife. That's like when the last 60 minutes start.
Okay. I'll
Yeah,
take
so
your
I
word
like
for
that
it.
scene a lot because I just I don't know I like the ideas of the card kind of um symbolism and then just the I don't know I think it was interesting to have all the characters
Yeah,
there and I did like those I did kind of note that my one of my bigger like pluses was the new cast.
Yeah,
I thought like
absolutely.
Bill Skarsgård, I think Donnie Yen, and then I think Shamir Anderson was like one of those guys who like I've never heard of before and I thought he was
Yeah.
really awesome. Um, and that was a bit like
and
Yeah.
Scott Atkins,
Yeah.
he's fun in
like
that,
the
yeah.
goat.
That was gonna be that was gonna be my next point. I mean, that's my favorite. That I think that's really the thing that separates this movie from the rest of them for me. Like this is probably why it's my favorite out of all of them, is that I've never felt that connected to the supporting characters the way that I did in this one, where it was like there was so many of them that I really, really liked. And you already mentioned it, but yeah, specifically Shamir Anderson was
Yeah,
like
he's
easily the
awesome.
most likable
Him and
character
his
in the
little
movie for
dog.
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Man, Donnie Yen is such a standout in this movie for me. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to start Donnie Yen's like Oscar campaign for John Wick
I
4.
thought I Bill Skarsgård had like the best presence for me, and it was almost this thing of like I didn't even know if I liked it or hated it. It was just so fun and interesting to watch. So I was like,
Yeah.
"What on earth is that accent he is
Yeah.
doing?"
Truly,
And
truly
I was
maybe the
like, "Is
strangest
it
accent
really
ever.
bad?" It's like it's almost like I couldn't tell if it was like, "Do I hate this accent or do I like it?" And it was the point of like I just liked seeing him on screen doing it. So I was like, "Sure." And I
Bill
thought he was the
Skarsgård,
he's so much fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård as the Marquis was really fucking awesome. So apparently, Chad, he reached out for Bill Skarsgård and sent him the script, and he wanted him to play another character that would ended up being cut from the movie. But Bill Skarsgård read the script and like reached back out to Chad and was like, "Yeah, that's cool, but like I really want to play the Marquis. Like that's the fun role." And
Yeah,
Chad was
yeah.
like, "Oh, all right, I guess."
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Does he just love playing villains? Like
He's good at it.
I imagine
Like
he has to like seek it out.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. He has like he's a very interesting like vibe to him. Um,
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
like
interesting.
yeah
he's just a little
It,
freak.
yeah, I was
yeah
gonna say,
yeah
like it's interesting how unique he can make his
because he's
character.
just kind of a little, like oddball, and I mean you could make him like a protagonist. I think he just kind of fits better for that like weirdo kind of antagonist kind of role.
Yeah. I'm so curious. Like that accent is just like, do we know what it's supposed to be?
It's
Like,
supposed to
do
be
we even
French. He's in Paris the whole movie. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
French.
well,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but like he does
It
that thing. Never mind. It's just like
it's like
the
it's
way
yeah,
he
it's
talks.
not
It's like French, but it's not like
Yeah.
I meant like he's doing something with his voice that just makes it like
it's
not
like a
sound like
fake
any
accent.
normal accent. Yeah. But it's interesting. I don't yeah, I think it's interesting also that we all have different supporting characters that we like the most
But I
because
think
that's
that's like yeah,
definitely
that's really the besides like obviously the choreography and stuff. I think that's the really like the big um pro and like plus for this movie and that they did really strongly and it kind of sets it apart from the other ones. So there's so many characters that are just like fun. And I think that was like one of the bigger issues for me in the other movies. Like I didn't really care about anyone in those movies. I really
Yeah.
struggled to like care. And I'm still not really huge on the character of John Wick, but I think having it's kind of like a Nolan Batman situation in this
Mhm.
movie specifically, where I'm like, oh, I like a bunch of the other side characters, so that's cool. Like I'm cool with that enough. But yeah, I think John Wick's fine, like the character. I think some of the other characters were more interesting for me in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, when I
Uh,
saw John Wick 4, when I saw this movie the second time, I was really struck by how good it was. I was really struck by like how um they really utilized Keanu Reeves, I think, to the peak of his ability in a way, because they really utilized his physical acting and his talent
yeah.
as like a person that can do stunt work, right?
Yep.
And then they paired that with kind of like his weird just like vibe, you know, and it's like his weird
Yeah.
vocal delivery and the fact that like,
Yeah.
and this is something that everybody identifies and that people are like, oh, he's a bad actor because he talks weird. And it's like, that's just how fucking Keanu Reeves talks. But
Yeah,
they
I
utilize
love
that by
it.
like, by like he like never talks in this movie and like really lean into like the yeah like vocal
Yeah.
delivery he does, which is fucking
Yeah.
really cool.
I think it's
Um,
so
I'm not a
charming. I know Owen doesn't like it, but
I'm not a
I find that so
fan of when he does that. Well, it's
I
just like I don't know. I think it's whatever. It's just like it's like a character that I struggle to care about, and then I see him do these action scenes that are cool at times, but then it's like I struggle to care about the character doing the action, and then he's like
that's
he says like
fucking
a one
crazy.
he does like a one liner with his dumb voice after he kills like 9 people, and I don't know. It doesn't work for me personally.
I think it adds to the silliness of the movies
No, it's
overall.
definitely like I said it. I kind of said it before, but like it's definitely like the movie is going 100% in one direction, and I feel like
Yeah.
it really works if it really works for you. It's
Yeah.
just like a lot of it is just like too much of something that I'm not too into.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I think because I think that like the movie uses Keanu's woodenness to its advantage in a way because it feels like the movie is entirely built around Keanu Reeves' personality in a way that I
Yeah.
think is effective because like every single character in the movie, their personality is like juxtaposed against John Wick's woodedness, right? So you have
Yeah.
Donnie Yen in there being like this super kind of like this over the top blind guy going like, "Well, John, I'm sorry to do this to you," and John's like, and then John Wick is like, "Me too," um, and it's like I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
silly, like.
No, yeah, and I think obviously
Yeah,
it's like they don't even have to like do much for his character because I think a lot of it is just people's association with like we all like Keanu Reeves. Like everybody just likes Keanu Reeves so much that it's like you just like he's kind of like just the character
Did
almost.
you
And that's
did
kind
you
of why you're
see
rooting for him.
did you see the behind the scenes footage of Keanu working on this on John Wick 4 where
I
where
saw
he's like
one of the
carrying
stunts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that the
uh
clip of him carrying the stuff up the stairs.
yeah, he's carrying like crew equipment up the stairs for them and
Yeah.
I heard an interview I listened to an interview with Chad where he talked about how Keanu Reeves like never complains on set. Like he sets a
Yeah.
precedence where where he never complains on set and he never leaves early. He's always there from like the whole shooting day and he's like yeah Keanu's just like the best leading guy you could ever ask for
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like just like in terms of like how easy and he is to work with like
And I think I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember seeing an interview from like a couple of years ago as well, where someone kind of brought something up about that, about how like nice he is to everybody on set and stuff, and like they brought it up to him, and he was just like not impressed. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'm just doing the bare minimum. Like that's just who I am." Like I don't know. He's just very yeah. He's just like a seemingly good dude, and it makes it so easy to like
Yeah.
root for John Wick as a character. And I think that's what it comes down to. That's why, because it's like, yeah, that alone, like the delivery of the lines and like that whole thing alone might not work if it was somebody else, but
Mhm.
because I know it's Keanu Reeves, I'm like,
all
this
right.
works for me because I like Keanu Reeves.
Okay, so this is kind of like where I'm heading to now for I had a question for Owen, right?
Okay.
Owen,
Mhm.
John Wick, is
Yeah.
it good if Keanu Reeves is replaced with Robert Pattinson to you? Is this a good franchise? This is a
This is
franchise
what you
you
were.
like.
This is what you were thinking about. Yes, this is what you were
Yeah.
asking me
Yeah.
yesterday. I don't know. I think I at this point, if let's say it's like I think it's different. It kind of doesn't really make sense one for one. I guess it would make sense if like okay, you have an older Robert Pattinson. I don't know. I feel like I'd probably be more interested in it just because I like Robert a lot. I don't think I don't think I still like it like as much as you guys would.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think it's like for me, it's just like a kind of clear fundamental like stylistic disinterest from me. I like Keanu, like I really love the Matrix movies. Keanu's not like I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite actors, especially at this point of his career. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm more interested if it was Robert, but I don't think it would be necessarily a good like franchise for me.
yeah,
If
that
that
makes
makes sense. Like
sense.
I don't think it would change it drastically. I think it might be like more interesting to me as a
Or
concept.
I'm just trying to think like maybe like I was just trying to like or like somebody even like a Chris Pine type or someone like someone like with like more like overt kind of like movie star charisma than Keanu Reeves, who is
Well, I think
we've
it
all
would make
identified
the
as
movie
like
would be
yeah.
different. I feel like they obviously because you said it like the movie's so like kind of made to like with for Keanu Reeves, kind of made for Keanu. So like
Yeah.
putting anyone else there kind of be like you'd have to change things or it would be weird.
Yeah.
So then it's just kind of a different movie at that
You know,
point.
you know what? It's fucking weird. We live in a world where the guy who is the lead in the Matrix is that's like not his most famous role, you know?
Yeah.
Like the guy that plays Neo is
Sadly,
not
yeah.
most
Well,
known for Neo.
It should be
it varies by
Constantine.
age. It varies by age group. I mean,
I th- I
I think
think
old people
because
anybody
like
like yeah, anybody above
John Wick
20 is
though.
gonna associate him with the
no,
Matrix, I think.
I not
I think the
now.
thing is not now because I think that the thing is the movies are called John Wick. You
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know?
mean he was in Fortnite, so think about it. John Wick was in
Yeah, I mean, him being in
Fortnite.
Fortnite is just backs up what I'm saying about
Yeah,
age
all the
group.
little kids love John Wick.
There were
Yeah,
old
of
people at my
course.
oh, how was
Oh,
your guys' screenings? There were old
there was
people
a
at my
guy,
screening.
there
Oh,
was an
yeah.
older guy by himself in like the row in front of me, and at times I was just only watching him because I thought his reactions were really funny. He was just so into it and so happy, and like John
That's
Wick
so
would like
sweet.
fall off a building. Like there's like some great like he like falls like really um high, and the guys just loved it. But
There
I kind of I went to like a really specific like screening time that was a digital screening instead of the Dolby and the IMAX because it like worked better with my schedule. So it was
mhm.
like a smaller because the other ones were like sold out, and it
Yeah.
was just a smaller kind of a group. But yeah, they seem to have a good time with it.
Yeah, my screening was pretty I thought it was pretty fun. There was a lady in the back row who was like very very loud but in a fun way, you know? And I think every movie, specifically movies that are supposed to be fun, are always enhanced by having one person in the back that's just having a great time in a way that's not
Yeah,
annoying everybody. Like
yeah.
she would just get very excited at certain things and like yell at the screen, but it made everybody in the theater laugh. So I was just like having a great time with it.
Yeah.
And I think every time one of those people is in the theater and it's not like them making noise in a way that pisses you off, it always enhances a movie for me because I think it makes everybody have more fun. So that made the action
Yeah.
scenes more fun, which I thought were already like
Five
amazing.
stars because
Um,
there's a lady in my theater screaming at the movie. No,
no, but like
yeah, yeah.
it just
There
enhances the
for
action,
my
like it makes it
Dungeons and
so fun.
Dragons screening, there was a lady who anytime Michelle Rodriguez would do anything, she would yell at the screen, "That's my girl," and like fist pump the air. And then I just like it was very funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about the action scenes as well. I mean, you already said that that it was like, what did you say, Owen? That they were
What?
okay.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fine. I don't know. I
Kind of
There's something like I think
the
it's like
best.
good, but I found myself like there's the scene in the what is it, a club at the beginning, or
Yeah,
like the guy owns it's like the guy and the daughter, and he owns like the as a hotel,
a
right?
hotel. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Oh,
So
it's one of
yeah.
the other it's one of the other Continentals,
yeah,
just
yeah.
in
So he owns
The Osaka
yeah.
Continental.
yeah. So
And
there's that
the guy and the daughter are you anyways, keep going.
yeah. So he owns the hotel, and there's a scene where John Wick and there's like I forget. I honestly don't remember what they are, but there's like different things that they're kind of walking. I don't know. It's like a
Big
pillar.
little boxes, big
Yeah,
boxes.
something. It's like a
Yeah,
room,
like
and
display
I know I
cases.
found myself kind of numb to that whole scene, and remember being kind of like out of it at that point. Like the first hour for me, I felt was like very rough. I really wasn't interested in like much of the first hour. Um, I think the most like notable moment of the first hour is the Bill Skarsgård and like he kills Lance Reddick
Yeah.
scene. But
Fucking crazy that Lance Reddick dies in this movie.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
And
oh
very
wow,
early on too.
yeah,
Like
it's like
very
yeah,
very little
yeah.
screen time
That's
in
like the
this one.
first scene in the movie, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that scene was like notable, and then for like a long time until that card scene, I was like, this is rough. Um,
Interesting. But
yeah,
the scene the action that takes place like in the club after the card scene you thought was good?
yeah, that was I like that scene a lot. That whole like it's like the waterfalls and stuff,
Yeah.
and there's just people dancing and they're fighting, and like people are kind of unfazed like mostly by it. Like they're like, oh, what the hell? Why are you knifing that guy next to me? But I like that scene. But like I don't know, a lot of the action before that I just kind of was detached from and kind of numb to.
No,
Yeah,
that's one of
that's
my favorite. I
crazy.
said that I said that to Owen that one of my favorite things about the movies is that they just never address like the normal world. Like that scene, for example, in the club where like after they fight, everybody you see like all the people that were dancing in there, like gathering and like storming out of the club. You know what I mean? Like Keanu Reeves is leaving with all the rest of them, because obviously somebody just got just got murdered in front of them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but you
the
never actually
movie
like know anything about regular people. There's never like news helicopters or anything. Like it just completely avoids that, and I think that's so
well,
fun.
the
Like,
movie the implication of the movies is that like this is the normal world
yeah,
because you have like every because when John Wick gets excommunicado at the end of the second movie, it's like every single fucking human being in that city like is now trying to kill
yeah.
him. That's like the
Well,
implication. Like
they're like
Yeah.
amongst normal people though. Like normal people, there's like certain scenes like that club
No,
scene where like normal people react to things, but you
I
just
like
don't
the
like.
idea, like in the third act, where like I like this bit a lot, where it's you got the lady. I love this shot too. It's like the lady, you see her mouth, and she's talking to the like it's like a radio station, and she's like
Oh
basically
yeah,
saying these things, and like you have that, and then you cut to like all the people in the city trying to kill him, and this is a great scene where like there's a kind of circle of the cars going, and you have the thing in the middle, and John Wick's like
the Arc
fending
de
off
Triomphe,
from.
one of the most iconic
Yeah.
structures in the
So you
entire
have that,
world. Like what?
thing, and then you have the cars going. You have the Eiffel Tower over there, and then there's the whole like everyone's coming at him and stuff. That's a good bit. Yeah, I like that whole that kind of section is I think strong, and the whole idea of the duel was something that really I got confused with the duel. For some reason, I assumed that Bill Skarsgård was dueling off with him at the end. Um,
well, he did mention in the scene earlier that he was like getting the one dude to do it for him.
yeah, no, I kind of like I was a little confused on that. I kind of missed something there. Because then you get there and obviously Donnie Yen does it, and I almost like I don't know if I would say like it lost something for me. It's definitely
Oh,
it's a different I would say feeling, but a different meaning. There's a difference like to Donnie Yen doing it than Bill Skarsgård. And
I like that.
I like the choice and I like the
Yeah.
scene and the way that it happens. I just in my head the whole time it was like, oh, okay, Bill Skarsgård and John Wick are going to fight at the end or do the duel. And then I was like, oh, what the hell? He's just standing there up to the side. But I like the whole idea of the two friends and it makes the scene where they're at the church talking like more powerful, I guess. But it's just for some reason I missed that, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, why is Donnie Yen taking his shirt off? Um, but I don't know. I like
Uh,
the whole like where he doesn't shoot and then he shoots Bills. Like that
Yeah.
whole the whole like dual concept. I think is like I love the idea, the imagery of that, and the like that whole stuff is really cool. The dual
I
stuff.
I really like the duel. I really like the duel with Donnie Yen because like right before that, Donnie Yen is like, "All right, I need you to get up those stairs right now."
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then
It's like a cute
and
little
it's
friendship moment.
yeah, and then like I think the implication of the story is in the movie is that John Wick is like missing on purpose. I think it's that like John Wick could have killed Donnie Yen with the first shot, but is like
Yeah.
missing on purpose, and I think Donnie Yen may or may not also like be missing on purpose.
I think the last like shot where John Wick doesn't shoot back, I'm pretty sure Donnie Yen was aiming for that spot, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
It seems like there's like a mutual understanding
No,
between
yeah,
them,
I
even though
think
it's
that
never
part is
spoken out
really
loud.
fun.
yeah,
Which like that enhances the scene for me. I think that's like really
Yeah.
interesting that there's just this kind
It's
of like
weird, there's moments like that I think are really strong. I feel like it's just like there's just such a like large chunk of the movie that just doesn't work for me. But I think when it works for me, I think it's really cool. Like there's a lot like of imagery and kind of stuff being played with that I really find
yeah.
attractive.
And I just find that stuff like appealing as well because there's like not really like there's not really like allegiances typically, you know what I mean? Like when stuff out like John Wick will like have a quote unquote friend and then he like his friend will just like turn their backs on him if there's like if they know they could get like millions of dollars for killing him or whatever. So I thought that
Yeah,
part was just kind of charming because like
yeah,
it's pretty obvious that it's like an actual like two people who actually care about each other.
yeah.
Which is
Kind of with
sweet.
that is like I with kind of like the turning and kind of complex kind of side characters. I thought that like the Mr. Nobody's character where he kept trying to up the price on John Wick's kind of head there, but
Yeah,
you would see him like you would John Wick would be fighting someone and Mr. Nobody would shoot the other guy. So he
yeah,
was like he was like a friendly, but he's also trying to kill me kind of like guy.
yeah.
Because he was obviously trying to like keep him alive so he could drive the price up. But it was just like I thought his character was really interesting.
I
Um,
thought the idea of having this other this other like really fucking awesome assassin, like Kane and John Wick and whatever,
Mhm.
like be there and have the ability to kill John Wick but choose not to
yeah.
and kill the other people trying to kill him
Yeah.
intentionally to drive up the price is like that's a really fucking cool idea
Yeah,
in
yeah.
No, it's
universe.
so cool.
Yeah,
And
no,
you
I
like
th
you don't forget it the entire time you're watching it. Like you're
yeah,
always from the moment it happens, like from the moment you meet him, it's always in your head for the rest of the movie.
yeah. No, I thought
Um,
his like that whole character is really great.
yeah, and it also leads to my favorite scene in the movie, of course, like literally the cutest scene ever when John Wick saves his dog. That made me so
Oh
happy.
yeah, yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
that was
I
cool.
love a
The
good dog
scene
scene.
where Bill Skarsgård puts the knife in his hand, that shit's kind
Oh
of
yeah,
crazy.
that was oh my that lady who I told you about. Yeah, she was not vibing with that
He
scene when he
said,
pulled
I
him out. She
forget what
was
Bill
like
Skarsgård
screaming
says,
at the
but
screen.
he said he said something about like you can either pull it out or you gotta go the other way, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so
he said like you can either pull the knife out of your hand or you can pull your hand out of the
yeah,
knife.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just crazy. Just actually insane. And it's insane that it just like he just like
uh,
wraps it up and keeps going like that
yeah,
shit's
yeah. He's back,
nasty.
back to work. Yeah, no, that scene's yeah.
And I love that he's also just like watching the duel. Like
Yeah, no,
that's such a fun little
he's got like
touch
a
that he's just
beer.
there with
He's
his
with his
dog.
dog.
Yeah.
He's just like sitting back watching.
I think it kind of like kind of like encompasses like how all of this to them is almost kind of like sport, you know what I mean? Because there's like so many like moments of sportsmanship throughout all the movies where like you can kill someone, but they're like I think of the one scene I think of is in the I guess it's the third movie where there's like these two guys like fighting John Wick towards the climax and they like there's like a moment where they could kill him, but then they help him up instead to like keep fighting. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's like a lot of moments like that in all the movies where like you could kill somebody, but you don't because it's almost like they all like view it like it's a sport kind of thing where it's like you need to like it needs to be fair. Like if I'm gonna kill you, it
Yeah,
needs to be like we
there's
need
like
to
a
both
level of
be.
respect between
Yeah.
people, even if they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah. Which
Well,
I
you know
just
what?
makes it
Is
so
it
fun.
I think it's not just respect. I think that a lot of people in the fucking John Wick universe are just really arrogant
Hmm.
about John Wick, specifically because like
Yeah,
when we get to the Scott Adkins scene, it's like that fat motherfucker should have just shot him when he was tied up. Like, why did he like
yeah,
do the fucking whole like
Yeah,
charade?
no, it
Like,
is like it's like it's a sense of pride as well. Yeah, I think it's I
yeah.
yeah,
don't know.
like
Yeah, I don't think I'm not necessarily saying it's respect. I just think it feels it just reminds me a lot
Well,
of
I
like
think it is
how
can
athletes
there
act with
can
each other.
be some respect. Like I think for some people it is respect, but I think for some other characters it is a lot of like, I
Yeah,
finally got you. I'm gonna kind of boast in this moment. And
yeah,
it's it kind of, I mean, it's like a lot of things happens in action. It's like the very much like the villain kind of sharing his plan while he's got the hero tied up thing. It's like
yeah,
it's very much like, oh, I finally am winning. I'm gonna bask in this moment, and ends up like kicking him in the ass.
yeah, well, like that. I love that Scott Adkins part so much because it's also like if you think about it logically, it's like that guy's so fucking stupid. Like, what is wrong with him?
yeah. Of
Because it's like
course.
he got fucking Kane, Mr. Nobody, and John Wick all sitting right in front of him at the table, and he's playing like a card game that he's just cheating at, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Why are you like, dude?"
Like if you're cheating at the card game, just murder them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like
like
I,
like you're
I
already
half expect
cheating.
I half expected him to have like a button under the desk and they were gonna like drop in a hole. Like
Yeah. That would
Yeah, and
actually be
there'd be
so
like
silly.
snakes in the hole,
yeah.
and yeah, it'd
That
have been
would be so
sick.
silly.
I love snakes in the
No, and
hole.
his death was just like on like his death, the way that he like falls and like cracks his neck on like the thing, dude. That shit was, and the sound effect of like his neck cracking. I was like, ugh. Like everybody in my theater like gasped. Like that shit was awesome though. I think there was a couple of scenes like that. But that one was just like that was like an audible gasp.
Yeah. The first big fall, everybody in my theater gasped and was like, "Oh." um
Yeah. I love how many times John Wick just falls from extraordinary heights too.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
no.
this dude just falls a lot. like
But I think
like
like the most
his back has
dramatic
been
one I
through
feel
it.
like is the like when he is this going up the stairs and he
Yeah.
just kind of
And he
falls
goes all the way
all
back
the way
in.
back, because I feel like that scene's just like kind of so long, and it's just him just like kind of keep hitting the stairs, and you just know that he's got to go all the way back up. It was very like a Kung Fu Panda moment where he just kind of went all the way down the stairs, and he's like, oh, and then Donnie Yen
yeah.
like saves him, but I don't know,
Yeah,
that's
Chad,
a good bit.
I listened to an interview with Chad where he brought up how Keanu's stunt double did that scene and
Hmm.
he like got hit really hard, like he went like halfway down he went like down the first thing of stairs and then hit the rail really hard, and he was like, "Oh, can we actually pull this stunt off?" And like he asked like his stunt double, he's like, "Hey, you know, like okay, are you gonna be able to do this?" And the stunt double was just like, "Yeah, dude." And then he like fucking did it the next, like he went all the way
Yeah.
down like the next take, it was fine. It was
Yeah.
crazy. um
Yeah, there's some wild stunts in here, and I know you talked about it a little bit, Doug, about how like you wish there was a stunt category for something like this movie.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, for like the
at the Oscars.
Oscars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? No, I was watching it because I was thinking, fuck, I hate that I think about the Oscars when it's not Oscar season. It's fucking stupid. But I was thinking like this movie should be like a lock in for like like makeup nomination as well as a costume nomination, right? At the
Yeah.
Oscars, like it should just be like a locked nomination. But then I was also thinking like, why aren't there choreography nominations? Like you can,
Yeah.
you know, and why
It
isn't
seems like a
there?
category that just like should have existed for a long time now.
Yeah, like choreography, because
Yeah.
like you can do fight choreography, you could do
Dance.
dancing, you can like put them all in the same fucking thing. But like, oh my god,
Yeah, no, I was kind of thinking because like originally I just kind of thought of fight stuff, and I was like, there's not that many films that would really be up for that. But I think if you incorporate like all types of choreography, it could be really interesting.
yeah.
Um,
And then this
Yeah.
movie would run away with it because the fucking fight choreography is so cool.
yeah, I don't know. Ant
um,
Yeah.
Man,
Until they make
it
a new
kind of
until they make a new
has
step up movie.
Ant Man's gonna give it a run for its money.
no, dude, I
Um
just this movie fucking rules, dude.
yeah,
Oh
I
my
was
gosh,
gonna
and
ask unless you
Go.
have something to say, Doug.
I'm just
No,
no, I mean I could just like to say every moment of this movie and be like that was so cool.
no,
That was such a cool moment.
I was gonna ask because I think I'm just curious like what you guys think because I just had like a weird experience where when I like saw the third John Wick movie, I like one of the things that I and again it's like pretty minor because I like all these movies a lot, but I did kind of like feel the length a little bit. But then when I watched this movie and which is nearly like 3 hour or 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever, like easily the longest in the franchise,
Yeah.
like I thought the length was kind of an advantage. Like I kind of liked that it was a longer movie. Like it just worked for me, in my opinion at least. Like it just like it did not
Um,
feel that long at all for me. So I was just curious like where you guys fall on that.
I felt the
yeah.
length a little bit, but it's I don't care because I liked it. I liked the movie a lot.
So
I will say,
Yeah.
they have to like I'm not crazy, right? Like they have to release an extended cut, right?
I don't think
maybe they
Owen would
release.
I don't think
Yeah, how
Owen
about
would
they
ever
release that
want
90-minute cut?
that,
How about they drop that?
no,
No, but you
Um,
know what I
I
mean?
would love to see
Because
it.
no,
No,
like
yeah,
there's
I would
so
love
because
to
much.
see it.
Chad
The way
said,
he's talking
yeah,
about it, there's just so much footage that it kind of it makes sense.
Yeah, I'd
where
love
it's
to see
like
it.
Or like
yeah,
an
at least
ultimate
like
cut or some like other cut of the
yeah, like that
movie.
like give us like a 3.5 hour cut of the movie because like the way he's talking about it, it's like they almost just released a 3.5 hour cut, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Which
watch it.
I
Well,
that
so
that would bother me
I
in
don't know if I
theaters,
told
but
you
at
this,
home I would
Kevin, when we
watch
were
it.
talking about it earlier, but so I have like an interesting 'cause I kind of watched them all in I wouldn't say a row, but like in a week kind of span. And I normally felt with the like the first one, whatever. I think the second one and the third one feel long to me, but for me, it was like by the third act, I was like, all right, can we get this over with, kind of thing. But I felt like an opposite kind of reaction to four, where I felt like maybe because I was just so John Wicked out at that point. But I was the first hour felt long. I was like, damn, this is going to be a long movie. But the third act for me was like the stuff where I was like, oh, this is really great. So it felt slow in the beginning, not in the end, where it was kind of the opposite in the other two that felt long for me, which was kind of interesting. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know if
is
that something
interesting.
kind of makes sense, but it did feel long, but I did think three felt long. I did think two felt long. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's just kind of my disinterest of the franchise, kind of making me
yeah.
bored. But I don't think the 169 minutes felt like forever. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe it was just because like my theater was having fun and I was having fun, but like it really did not feel like that long of a movie to me
Yeah.
at all. Which I guess is just like
No,
probably
I
why
said
I like
something
this
on
one
I
more
said
than
something
the
on
others.
Twitter. It's like 65 felt longer.
Yeah,
It's like I don't know. I don't think it is like the best paced movie of all time, but I don't think it feels like 5 hours or anything like that.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot. There's a long section. I think when you mentioned that this one like has you less interested in the beginning of the movie, I think there is kind of pretty long section with not too much action going on. So that's
Yeah, no,
maybe why.
it was kind of
But
that, and then when the action one happened, I'm like, I don't really care about this action. I thought it was like the most interesting set pieces in action are just happening at the end.
yeah,
Um, just
I
naturally,
see. I think the action at the beginning is fucking cool too. When he's in the
yeah. I
Osaka
also thought it was cool.
Continental towards the end, and when Kane shows up, and you're like, oh fuck, that's Donnie Yen, right? And then it's like, and then Donnie Yen is like fighting John Wick, and he's like, are you dead, John? And then
yeah,
he
that
like jumps
whole all that
for the
stuff
machine
was
gun, and they're both
No,
like
I love
lying
that
down or
stuff.
like shimmering like while lying down, shooting at each other through a fucking mirror or like a window. It's I don't
Yeah.
know.
No,
Yeah,
I
he
thought the stuff at
killed,
the
I
Osaka.
forget the guy's name, but when he kills the guy who runs the hotel,
Hmm.
Mhm.
zero care in the
Really,
world.
I liked that guy a
That
That
lot.
scene was fucking awesome.
I
I
yeah,
yeah.
it was like I don't know I don't know if that character really didn't matter
And
for me. I
Really,
mean,
Mia
I
I
like
think
him.
Sawayama is so good in this movie, dude.
Yeah, she's awesome.
yeah, I think she's fun.
And she does
I
appear
don't know.
in the end credits as well.
Yeah, and with Thanos and
So
her and and they're all eating
Yeah,
shawarma.
it's Thanos
Uh,
and Morbius and
yeah, and
yeah, or I mean, we should probably at some point mention
address
the
the
ending.
elephant in the room.
Yeah,
So what's
there's
the deal with John Wick 5?
right,
well,
right.
here's the thing.
Because I was
Um,
confused.
If the well, here's the thing. If John Wick, if Keanu Reeves comes back and is like, yeah, I want to do John Wick 5 because he's a fucking 60-year-old man and these movies are hard as fuck to
Yeah.
make. Um, if he's
And
like, yeah,
then
I
there'll
want
be
to do
one.
John Wick 5, then they will make John Wick 5. But
He'll
if
Yeah.
be
he
alive.
is too old, yeah, but if he's too old, then they won't do John Wick 5. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
you could be like, oh, John Wick's dead at the end of this movie. We didn't see him die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that was the
and
thing for me
also,
is I was
like,
just like I saw him die and I was like, wait, I thought there was supposed to be a fifth one. What
And the thing,
happened?
yeah, no, but the thing is also it's like it's this really like dramatic, like he's walking down the steps, right? And then he kind of
Yeah.
like passes out, and like that's the assumption that he's dead. But it's
yeah.
like he's 20 feet away from like a bunch of guys that could just like get him to a hospital. You know what I
Well, yeah, I
mean?
was
I
Like,
just I
think,
didn't
not that
I
they
think
didn't
would,
think when he did
but
that, I didn't think he died until they showed his grave. I was like, oh, okay.
I think the ending is really effective though, especially
yeah,
because like
oh,
if they don't make
absolutely.
another one, I think it's just like, oh, this is like a full like this is like a open book, closed book kind of thing, and I think it's
No,
really
I
effective.
think it's a
It's
perfect
yeah, it
conclusion.
works perfectly at like both things where it's like if this is where the franchise ends, then we're okay with it. But like the ending is also so easy to interpret as like if there's a fifth movie, you can piece together that he's still alive and just like,
Especially because
hiding
like
out or whatever.
if there's a fifth movie, I also think that it's like you could be like, oh, obviously because this movie's so big, and it's like, gosh, and they still like are holding restraint on the world building because if there's a fifth movie, you could totally like we don't know what the high table fucking means. Like we don't is
Yeah,
there a literal
John Wick
table
goes to
that people sit
space.
at? Yeah. Or
Let's
yeah, you know,
go.
yeah, like or
The High
you know,
Table
because
is
it's
an
like
alien organization in space.
yeah, you know, because like there's very obvious like where it's like there's so many unanswered questions in the universe where
Yeah,
it's like, oh, if John Wick can come back and just like actually tear the system down theoretically, if they wanted to
Yeah.
do that, like
yeah,
Well, it's an interesting kind of franchise because you're meeting John Wick at like the kind of like end
the
of his
end,
career.
yeah, you're meaning him
Um,
retired.
yeah, so it's almost like a franchise that like exists like it could work if this was like the sequels or not the sequels, but like the fifth movie is kind of the first movie almost. Like you're joining him in a weird spot. So like it's kind of a franchise that feels like it could go on forever if Keanu Reeves wasn't 60 and his character wasn't like at the last leg. Like it's kind of a
yeah,
Yeah,
franchise where you could see him making like six movies or whatever. But it's just like at the point of like the character is he's everyone kind of knows him. He's at the point in his career where he's at the end of it, and it's just kind of mimics where Keanu Reeves is. He's just older, so it's like there's not really many you can do with it. I think the conclusion is really strong. I think hit the whole moment on that boat where he says like loving husband, and then you get the kind of
yeah,
payoff there when he's next to his wife's grave where it's like loving
yeah,
wife, loving husband. And I think it kind of goes back to why he's doing this all for his wife, and I mean his dog. His wife is really the core of the like the reason he's doing this. So I think that the kind of conclusion of him returning to his wife, I think, is a
yeah,
perfect way to end it if you choose to end it here. But I didn't think he was dead until they showed the grave. I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. He's because I was like, oh, they're making John Wick 5. He'll be fine. I see him get thrown around enough. I'm sure he'll be all right.
Yeah, you kind of assume
Um,
that it would start with him just like John Wick 5 starts and he's just like back up from it or whatever.
Yeah, I
Um,
assume I would just. I mean, I didn't really assume there was going to be
okay,
consequences
hear
like
me out,
that.
hear me out, hear me out. Okay,
yeah, hearing you out.
John Wick 5, right? Cold
Mhm.
open. It's like a
Uh-huh.
dark and
He
stormy
like
night,
punches
right?
through
He punches
John
through the
shirt.
ground, right? The
He's
first
like a
shot is like a
zombie.
zoom is like of his grave, right? And we see
Yeah,
like his fist like punch up through the dirt of the grave.
yeah, it's like an Evil Dead moment.
Well, I think it's also just like like I mean what you said makes complete sense that like him being with his wife is like kind of like this perfect way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But it's also just like and maybe I'm just like missing something, but I like would it really if there was going to be and I'm not saying that this isn't something they could easily work around. I'm just saying like if there were a fifth movie and he was going to go after I guess like the rest of the high table and not just one person.
Well,
Um
here's the thing.
like
Here's the thing. The Marquis is he does not have a seat at the high
yeah,
table.
no,
The Marquis is the
I
guy
know.
that the high table. I've just
Yeah.
heard. I heard another fucking like other people talk about how like oh like he controls the high table and all this stuff and it's like doesn't matter. But I'm
No,
like
he's like a
no.
representative. He's like
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's the whole thing about it.
he's like he exists like on their behalf.
What's the
But
whole
yeah.
thing about everybody? The whole movie, it's like if you kill any of these guys, it doesn't matter because
yeah.
they're just gonna keep sending new people.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
that paired with the fact of like would it make any sense for him to fake his death? Because like it's not like if he like fakes his death to like go kill more people at the high
Well,
table,
that's
it's
the
like
thing.
every movie starts and everybody in this world is aware that John Wick is like active and they're like, yeah, John Wick's back. Like it's like, you know what like he's not just gonna like
I
fake
thought
his
we were
death
gonna
and then
get
go
like
kill more people and nobody's gonna know about it. Like
I
people will
thought it
just
was
know
gonna
about
be
it
kind of like
immediately.
Dark Knight Rises thing, where it's like he fakes his death so he can kind of just retire in peace, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you never
yeah.
get like a him at the coffee shop, like he's at peace. So it feels like
If
dead.
John
Like
Wick
there's supposed to be
John Wick
like
5 would
yeah.
I'm assuming John Wick 5, if it happens, which I think legitimately I think there is a 50-50 chance of John Wick
Okay.
5 happening. Um
Yeah.
but I think the studio is going to push Chad and Keanu Reeves to try and do it though.
Yeah, a lot of
Um
money on the
Yeah.
table there.
yeah, but I think if John Wick 5 happens, I'm assuming that the beginning of the movie is going to be is similar to the beginning of John Wick 1, where he is
Yeah.
like hiding
Where
out, like
he gets
trying to
pulled
live
back into it.
yeah, he gets pulled back into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm assuming like it's really the only way you fake your death at that point is like I'm done with this. I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. I got because like it's either like fake your death or someone's gonna come and kill you because it's
Like,
just like that's just how it is with him.
you know what it's probably going to be? It's probably going to be John Wick. It's probably going to be John Wick's like because like, you know like he still broke the rules. He got out of it because of the duel, right? But he still broke the rules, right? And he still like caused all this havoc for the high table and like this whole society, right? So
Yeah.
it's like he I think that like for the fifth one he would have like broken his death, and I'm sure like the high table probably would be aware that he still faked his death and like would come after him.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
probably wouldn't be too happy about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
The whole faking death. It just I don't know. It's an interesting decision because it makes total sense for him this like to be an ending thing. It's just kind of interesting if they're like, oh, we might do 4, we might do 5. It feels like it's 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 more it's less open ended than you would think for the fact that they are like 50-50 on doing another one.
yeah. Well,
Um,
because you guys know how 4 and 5 were supposed to be shot back
yeah,
Yeah.
together.
yeah, yeah.
Shot
Um,
together. Yeah.
yeah. Or not? Yeah, I like at the same time. They're supposed to be like
Yeah.
yeah from
Yeah.
like the same time. But
Ugh.
then the pandemic happened, so then they had to
Mhm.
postpone them, and then they only shot John Wick 4 in 2021. Um,
Mhm.
And do you think it's? I mean, it has to be like they probably changed some aspects of four when that
I
happened.
mean,
I'd imagine,
you
yeah,
right?
have
To
to
yeah,
like
yeah,
get
change.
to
yeah.
to get to the ending that they get to
Yeah.
in John Wick
Because
4.
I don't know if this is the original ending or concept for the
Yeah.
script or not, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be interesting. I mean, it's we would probably get more information. Like if we got 5, it'd probably be a thing. It would be like the how much of 4 was changed because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
curious. Um,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but Chad
interested to
also
see.
said the only thing Chad has confirmed about the sequel is that it's not going to come in the next couple of years. It's not going to
Yeah.
come. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna get like 80-year-old John Wick. He's like I've been faked my death for. He's like on an island somewhere in like a hut, and he's like 80, and he's like I've been faked my death forever, and then
Well,
like
I was thinking
someone
about this
comes
too
and
because
Yeah.
if it's like I
kills
think there's
him.
a way to bring back John Wick and have him like too old to be John Wick, and you could pair him with like Rina Sawayama's character or something,
Yeah,
and have it be
like
like
John Wick
uh,
Beyond.
Yeah.
yeah,
There we go.
Um, Before we wrap up, do you guys want to give your John Wick rankings of all the movies?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be all
I
similar
think
here.
mine and Doug's are pretty similar because I know we have
I
the same
think
movie in last place. I think I'll go first. Mine I have two in last place, then one, then three, and then four is my
yeah,
favorite.
that's what we all
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
that's the same for everyone.
Okay, cool. So that was easy.
Right on.
All right.
Yeah, I don't honestly I can't tell you one thing that happens in 2. I'm gonna be honest. I said that last week.
No,
Two's
I
cool.
like to. I just
I
like it to leave.
remember for one, I remember that like he's at the gas station and those guys are like, "Nice car."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
you
does
gotta come.
happen.
That scene's sick.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
man,
I
with John
like.
Wick 1, the whole like killing the dog thing is so visceral. It's
Oh,
just
that
fucking
scene,
Yeah.
yeah, that happens. I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
which is also why I love that scene so much in John Wick
you
4
like
when he
that they
saves the
kill.
dog.
Oh,
No, when he saves the dog,
He's,
I was like, that's
Kevin's
what's
right.
great.
everybody's favorite John Wick moment um
In the whole
in
franchise?
the whole franchise? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm back.
I don't know. I mean, that dog thing is high up there for me. Because
You
I mean,
like the
it's my
dog
favorite.
dying? You like watching the dog
No,
die?
the dog getting saved. You know what I meant. So,
Oh,
um,
For
yeah,
me, it's gotta be the sun stuff in the third act where like they get to the top of the hill and they're like,
mhm.
because it's like they're picking up, like everyone's looking around like waiting for him, and the sun payoff when they're it's you get Donnie Yen and Keanu, and then the top like left you just have the sun, uh,
yeah.
there. I think that moment's really like that's really effective like visual storytelling. I think that's my
Yeah.
favorite part of the franchise.
You have a favorite moment, Doug?
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm back.
That's your favorite moment?
I love that scene. That
Yeah.
Yeah,
scene's
no, it's
awesome.
cool. It's cool. Okay. We'll wrap up on that then. Um, you can let us know what you thought about John Wick 4. Once again, follow us on Twitter and join us next week for episode 14. We're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. And yeah, we'll see you next week.